I was going to do this tropes video anyway because I feel like his username changes a lot. So Jack in the books, I think, is what it is presently. But I think he's also just gone by, like, I think his full name, which I think is Jack Edwards. I don't know. He did this sort of thing a while ago where he and a friend ranked just general tropes. I felt like most of the tropes were romance tropes. And then there were a few other random ones in there. So I thought, because I'm on a bit of like a romance kick at the moment with TV, film, and books, I thought that maybe I would do a tier ranking as well, but specifically for romance tropes. I used a few other sources to find a decent amount of tropes to use for this video. One of them was an article, but I felt like some were missing from there. One of them was Jack's video, and then I think somebody else's tier ranking one. So I put this one together, and it's also going to be available to anybody to use. So if you wanted to use it, I will link it in the description. Feel free to, like, I don't know, tag me if you're posting your tier rankings. You know, I if you feel like it, you don't have to. Also, I forgot, my voice is a bit fried. I went to an event last night where there was a lot of talking, and I've realized that actually my voice is still kind of like croaky and husky from it. Like, I completely lost it last night. I couldn't speak loudly anymore. I kind of had to, like, mumble. So I've just sort of heard my voice. And I'm like, wow, hello. 3 months on tea, like what? So, like, I went with this structure. God tier is like absolute fucking best. I love this shit. Give me more. Cannot get enough. Butterflies, where it's like, yep, this is a good trope, definitely does it for me. However, there are other things that I prefer over it. Depends. So I feel like there are some tropes where it really depends on the novel, the plot, the characters. I will explain more when it comes up. Where it's like, I don't really care about this trope yet, or nothing has made this trope particularly appealing to me, but I also don't hate it. Like, if it's in a book, it doesn't ruin a book for me, but you know, I could take it or leave it. Don't really care. And then the bottom one is just no. Just no, either because I just find something, like, I have a problem with it, or because it just doesn't do anything for me so far. Like, I think as well, I'm open to my opinions changing about these tropes, because there are lots of tropes that I feel like I used to not like or did like, and then my opinions changed the more I read and the more I watched. So we will see. But yeah, I made this myself. Anyway, to get on with the romance tier ranking video. Also, yeah, let me know if there's any other genres you would like me to either, like, make a tier ranking thing for and do videos for. I just thought, you know, it's just been February, and I'm just consuming a lot of romance, so let's just go with that, you know. So the first one is meat cringe. I can't think of many off the top of my head. Yeah, like, it's not really a vibe I move towards. Like, I didn't realize meat cringe was a trope. Most of them are, like, relatively self-explanatory, but, like, this, for me, really depends, because there's like me cringe where it's like, oh, that's a bit embarrassing. Oh no. Ooh. But then there's also, oh no, that's actually fucking mortifying. I'm dying from secondhand embarrassment just witnessing this piece of media. And I don't like that. I really don't like the secondhand embarrassment like that. I really hate it. So it depends. I'm not giving it a no, because I used to fucking love the Georgia Nixon books. I'm pretty sure there's quite a few of me cringes in those books. I mean, doesn't she meet a boy dressed as an olive? Can't remember, it's been a while. Then it is, oh, oh, my throat. Love at first sight. I'm not gonna lie, I'm putting it in no. Part of the reason why I was thinking about doing this video anyway was because I've realized one of my favorite tropes is related to just like the slowest of slow fucking burns. I didn't include yearning. I didn't include yearning. I don't want anyone to be in love at first sight, bitch. Actually, maybe I do have yearning. I've got unrequited love and stuff like that, but whatever. You know, I hate love at first sight. Like, no, you're not. You're not in love with them. You've just like looked at them. You've just met them, and like, yes, I can and do ignore some of the like, over the topness of a lot of romance books, because you kind of have to. It's kind of the point. But for me, love at first sight is a fuck no. It's just like a boring. Like, where is there to go from there? Nowhere. There's nowhere to go. Then we have enemies to, or enemies slash rivals to lovers. So I put this in as that specifically because of Jack's video, because they made some good points in that video where it's like, I like, to me, I find it difficult to find, or like, I haven't really consumed media where people are enemies. And a lot of things that come under that trope are not great. They're usually quite problematic things, like particularly with queer ones. You know, like the homophobic bully turns out to be fucking gay. Sex education, I love them. I loved them, but I know it's wrong. And also, I feel like that's the only example I can think of, but also I don't really consider it enemies to lovers. You know, enemies to me is that you're on the same like social standing. You're on the same level in whatever the situation is. And I feel like the same with rivals, but rivals I feel like is at least more descriptive, because you don't have to be enemies with people that you are actually rivals with. Hello, heated rivalry, bitch. Heated rivalry. Key example. But like, there's a lot of other. I think I've actually consumed a lot of media with like rivals to lovers or some kind of like near thing like that. Like, there's a few examples of that kind of happening in the Queen's Gambit. Obviously, heated rivalry. But yeah, like, especially with things like any kind of academia based books, often the characters are pitted against each other in some capacity. Yeah, I literally can't fucking think of any off the top of my head. So I'm going to put it in butterflies, because I think when it's done well, rivals to lovers is sickening, and I would eat that shit up all day long. All day long. The next trope is friends to lovers. Look, look, look. I fucking love this trope. I fucking love this trope. Even though I don't, I think I used to romanticize the idea of that happening to me. But like now I'm old, now I'm an adult. I'm like, actually, no, I'm good. Like, yes, obviously, I want to have like a good foundation of friendship with whoever a future partner may be. But I feel like friends to lovers is like a teenager, young adult sort of fantasy. I love to read it. I do, and it involves usually a lot of like the yearning and the slow burn and stuff like that. But like, I just, it's there's a few adult novels I've read that have this friends to lovers. I think both of Melanie Murphy's books have it in, and I think because they're quite heavily inspired by her and her husband, who were besties for like fucking 10 years before they actually decided to get together. You know, how does it feel to live my dream? For me, it's in God tier because it involves a lot of tropes that I love. Love. Oh, my throat. Lovers to enemies and back again. I don't think I've read anything. Okay, there's maybe one example I can think of that I have read recently. It was one of, I think it was the most recent Dream Harbor book, the Gingerbread Bakery, because actually, like, it's a few more layers than that. They were like enemies to friends to lovers to enemies again to lovers again. And also second chance, because obviously repeatedly being lovers. But besides that, I don't think I've really seen anything that actually incorporates this. Not meaningfully anyway. They're like, I don't know, especially starting as lovers. I can't think of a single thing that starts as lovers and then has them as enemies and then goes back to lovers. I don't think I've seen anything with that in. So I think I'm just going to put it in depends. Put it in depends because I just don't know. I can't think of a single thing. And now this one's controversial. I'm probably going to put it in depends, and I'll explain why. Love triangles. For one, love triangles are bullshit in like most senses of the trope. It's a love V. It's not a love triangle. It's a love V. It goes back and forth, usually to like one central person and them to two other people. That's not a triangle, babe. I do think I've read a few things where there was actually a triangle. And now that's spicy. I like that. Even if I don't like all the people in the triangle. An example I can think of is, what the fuck was that book called? If We Were Villains, there were like a couple of triangles, but the main one that I liked was between Oliver, our main character, Meredith, who he starts banging at some point, and James, who he's just basically been in love with for fucking years and who has been in love with him back. But then James and Meredith also kind of like had a weird moment of tension because of something in their drama class that came up. Anyway, even though I don't like Meredith, or specifically don't like Meredith with Oliver because I wanted him to be fucking gay, I feel like that was some spice. I think there's a few of I don't know if I've read them, but I feel like a few people I know have told me about a few shows or books that had a love triangle. Challenges, which I really want to make a video on specifically because what the fuck was that film? But Challenges was a triangle. So yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. So like when it's an actual triangle, particularly because like a lot of books don't end up involving the possibility of polyamory. And like, whilst I'm not a polyamorous person myself, a lot of the times my ships are polyamorous with some of these like triangles or some of these like multi ship romances. Like, I'll just be sitting there being like, why do you have to pick? Why do you have to pick though? Why? Just all of you, just all of you set up some kind of like schedule, you know? So like that I'm down for. However, all of this nonsense about triangles that only go one way, and then also I feel like a lot of those books too, you're always like, I know who you're gonna pick in the end. Hunger Games. I don't even really call that a triangle. Personally, to me, not a love triangle, but other people will call it one. But there's that. Twilight, obviously. I think even vaguely Harry Potter. Sorry for the blasphemy of bringing up that, but like even that had a little bit of a weird triangle at times. Yeah, just most things. But it's always like, we know who you're really gonna choose. This is just like, it's to be an obstacle for no reason. Doesn't add anything. It just makes one of you a fucking asshole. Depends. Depends. Forced proximity. So I feel like this can be either like a short moment or like a full thing. You know, like, I am going to boarding school. You know, again, heated rivalry is a bit of a forced proximity at times because, you know, there's a lot of the time of having to be around each other, being, you know, like the ad campaign, being at all of these like networking events and award shows. You know, a lot of those were like forced proximity. Sometimes it was forced by Ilya, but it's still forced. If we were villains, also because they were a very small group of people at an elite theatre academy. I'm at the moment watching Exo Kitty. Again, they are one abroad for Kitty. She doesn't live in Seoul, so like she's very isolated in Korea. They're in a boarding school, but also there are like shorter moments in that show. So like in season one, her and Yuri have to go and hide in, I think, some guy's, the teacher's closet at some point, because if they're caught, they're in big trouble. And we get like the K drama music and sparkles and cherry blossoms and stuff like that. So yeah, I love a bit of forced proximity, whether it's more of like a long-standing plot mechanism or like shorter moments. Like, I fucking love some of my favorite fan fictions from back in the day were when characters were, you know, playing drinking games or whatever as like teenagers or college students, and they had to go and play. Someone was like, let's play 7 minutes in heaven. Or like, you're both in trouble, so you both have detention together where you have to work together. That's in Schitt's Creek. Breaking the Law, and Alexis and Mutt spend so much time together because they have to go and like do their like community hours, whatever the fuck it's called. Also, same for David and Patrick working together. Also, why does Patrick have so much confidence for a man in the closet who is super normcore? Like, I love him and I do think he's an attractive man. He is just extraordinarily normcore. And he's just like living his best life. And then he's like, you're the first boy I've kissed. I'm a bit nervous now. But then the rest of the time he's like, hell yeah, bitch. Yeah. And you're like, what the fuck? Am I okay? I've just heard myself. So yeah, forced proximity. Also, honestly, even as a just general trope, because again, Schitt's Creek is literally forced proximity. They live in two conjoined hotel rooms, the parents and the siblings who are like 30. Okay. Imbalanced power dynamics. I In my soul, it's a no. Like, my moral compass, my values say no. However, however, occasionally I have enjoyed a imbalanced power dynamic romance. I feel like the two that are coming to mind are both Helen Huang, because the first book, The Kiss Quotient, the main character is literally paying a sex worker to teach her how to be a girlfriend and how to like kiss and have sex and stuff. And then she has so much fucking money too. And then they end up together in the end. I've seen a lot of sex workers say that that trope, especially in general, of like falling in love with a sex worker is really bad for like real life sex workers because people think it's going to happen to them. So like, yeah, fair enough. But I really enjoyed that book, and partially because the main character is also autistic. So like that's also something that I think like muddies the waters a little bit. The main character is an autistic woman, but she has a lot of fucking money and she's paying him for a service. And then yeah, the love interest is a man, so that's usually a higher power dynamic than women. And he's not autistic again, so not being disabled is a higher power over a disabled person. But I would still say overall she had more power because I feel like money is more power than, or causes more of a power dynamic difference than those other things. And then her follow-up book, the autistic son, again, I think he has a lot of money. He is set up with this woman who does not have any money, does not have any prospects really, and also has a child out of wedlock and like an aging mother or grandmother that she's looking after. So it's in her best interests to convince this man to marry her at the very least so that she can move her family over to America and they can all be looked after there. So like I feel I can't think of any others that are a little bit more obvious. Like I really don't just go and read books about people who are dating their employees or stuff like that. Like I actively avoid those kinds of ones. So I feel like I'm going to put it in a no, because if it is one of the more extreme power imbalances, I really don't enjoy them. And that's usually what this kind of trope refers to more than anything else. But there are more nuanced versions of the trope where it is also kind of reflected on a bit and acknowledged, because sometimes, yeah, the person with more power than the other person does something that's fucked up, and then the other person actually says so. And it's like a conversation and a growing point. I mean, like, I haven't watched it yet from when I'm filming, but season 4 of Bridgerton is Benedict dating, or like whatever, sleeping with his one of his family's maids, or like he gets her the I don't, like I said, not seen it, so I don't know the specifics, but either way she's a maid for his family. And that's quite an intense power dynamic. With the other pairings, I don't think the power dynamic was that big. So yeah, I think in general it's a no, unless it is sort of treated sensitively, I guess. Sensitively. Off limits crush. So I feel like, again, this one is a depends. Sometimes I enjoy it because it's like I can't fancy him. He's my best friend's brother. And it's like, well, why not? Because there's some weird like code with neurotypical people that I don't know. I don't get that one in particular. Penelope and Colin kind of had that in Bridgerton. And then again, season 2 as well. Kate off limits crush because he was trying to court and marry her younger sister who was like 12. Okay, I'm changed. I'm sort of like convincing myself otherwise. I'm gonna put it in butterflies. I feel like it's not often like the main trope. It's sort of like an additional trope to like other things because I think it also was in the first Bridgerton series, but like the main trope there was fake dating. I don't know what the main trope would be for the second one, but the third one was obviously friends to lovers. But yeah, I feel like it's almost like seasoning on other broader tropes. And I think it adds a little something, but it's rare that I've read anything that's like the main trope is that the love interest is off limits and it's all around that, like I don't know. Maybe editing me will come up with some like examples. But yeah, I just can't think of any. I mean, I'm pointing at my TV. XO Kitty season 2, she is like, oh yeah, I'm bi and I fancy Yuri, but I now live with her and her girlfriend. So she's actually off limits now, whereas last season she wasn't necessarily entirely off limits. Because at least her girlfriend wasn't around at that point in time. So it just didn't seem as bad. Okay, fake dating. I'll put it in butterflies. Butterflies, because I don't think I necessarily go, oh, fake dating. Yes. That's the kicker. That's the thing that makes me want to pick this book up. No, but I do enjoy it. I love a bit of a fake dating scenario, especially if you can make it make somewhat sense realistically. Again, you've got to suspend reality a bit reading a fake dating plot, but that's why if you can make it like somewhat believable if you squint your eyes. Get a Clue, Danny Brown has fake dating that I was sort of like, okay, I can see this. This makes some sense. This actually makes some sense to real people benefiting from a fake dating scenario. Or like occasionally it'll be like, oh yeah, oh, one of my favorite fucking romance books is, I can't remember what the fuck it's called. Something husband boyfriend material, fucking hell. Boyfriend material is literally, that is the entire plot, basically. And I love that shit. Like, if it's done well, hell yeah. Like, that one had a believable premise as well. It was sort of like the main character that we were following, he is the son of like a couple of old minor celebrities from the 80s. So he gets followed around a lot by paparazzi and stuff. He keeps getting a bad reputation, which is risking his job working for a charity. So initially he's trying to actually date some people who seem appropriate, but then this is maybe a little bit of an enemies to lovers as well, because they really dislike each other when they first meet and they are just tolerating each other. But the other guy agrees to it because he has like a family party in like a month or two's time, and his family hate that he's gay. So if he was like, if I turn up with a fucking boyfriend, they can't keep asking me questions about when I'm gonna have get a wife, when I'm having a wife and kids. So yeah, that one's a banger. That one's a Bridget Jones retelling as well. I liked Bridget Jones, minus the fat phobia. She was so skinny in those films. Why did we think she was fat? Second Chance. I don't feel like I've read a lot of second chance ones. Again, I feel like this is relevant to that Dream Harbor book I mentioned earlier, where they basically get back together. It switches between the timelines of them being teenagers when they were like first dating and falling in love, and then them 10 years later as adults helping one of like their other friends getting married. I also was planning on writing a second chance adult romance, and I kind of feel like Hunger Games is maybe vaguely a second chance one, because we think, for one, they don't even think each other likes each other for the most part, even though both of them definitely do. Then Peter's abducted and they think he's dead, and then they do get him back, but he is different. He's unwell. People don't know if that he will return in any capacity to his like previous self. So like I'm gonna slap it in depends, because I think a lot of second chance romances that I've seen usually involve some kind of fucking cheating scandal, and it's like bit. I'm about to say a bunch of things that are absolutely hypocritical because I've taken back people who have cheated on me. Why do you think I've been single for so long? I've had enough. But like, I don't want to read that. I don't want to read. The reason why YouTube fucking broke up 5, 10, whatever years ago is because one of you fucking cheated. I also really hate the arguing about like, you cheated on me when it wasn't even technically cheating, or it was something that's super gray area cheating. Because I feel like if you're seeing somebody relatively seriously, you should have a conversation about what you consider cheating and like have a conversation together. Because like it's complicated. It's not that straightforward, and there's so many different especially like within queer spaces, people show affection differently to straight people. Like there are lots of things that queer people a lot of the time, not all queer people, but a lot of queer people do not consider cheating, but straight people do. And then also vice versa. So it's like, if a straight woman is allowed to kiss other women but not allowed to kiss other men, and then or like a straight man is allowed to kiss other men but not allowed to kiss other women, that's just kind of fetishization of homophobia stuff, really. But that doesn't work the same in queer spaces. It's a lot more complicated. You can't just be like, oh, you're bi, so you can't kiss anybody anymore, ever. It's more of like what is appropriate in the scenario? What makes your partner uncomfortable? And what do you feel is unreasonable of a request? Like, I feel like there are some things that people think is a reasonable request because they consider it cheating, but I don't think everything is a reasonable request. Anyway, I'm just fucking talking shit. Anyway, slow burn, as I've said a million times, God's tier. I fucking love the slowest of slow fucking burns. Grumpy Sunshine. I love a Grumpy Sunshine. I'm going to put it in God tier as well. I feel like most things I read, I'm like, fuck yeah, Grumpy Sunshine. Even if it's not super, clear cut, and both of them are kind of Grumpy Sunshine-y at times, there's always one, that they're usually further one or the other. And I love that. I'm also going to quickly skip that one because Opposites Attract is very similar. And I'm going to put Opposites Attract in Butterflies because I feel like it's a bit different. Because Grumpy Sunshine, you can still be very similar people or be interested in similar things. It's just your outward personality is different. Whereas Opposites Attract could be something more like, the jock versus goth thing, like in Breakfast Club. Where the jock guy fell in love with the goth, but then they ruined it and gave her a makeover. I like an Opposites Attract because I fucking love a himbo. I fucking love a jock. Okay? You guys know me and my love for Alex and Stardew Valley. I love him. I don't know sports. Go sports, but I don't know sports. I do archery. That's a fucking nerd sport. I did fucking ultimate frisbee. That's a nerd sport. I mean, I guess also like opposites attract. Dungeons and Drama, where there's the Dungeons and Dragons kind of nerd, and then there's the musical theatre girl, and then how they kind of both realize that their passions are actually kind of similar in a way, but generally they're quite opposite. So yeah, I do love opposites attract. Unrequited love. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I feel like unrequited love / yearning. That's what it should have said, because if it stays unrequited love, it's not a fucking romance book, is it? It's not a fucking romance book. So it's like, yeah, unrequited love / yearning. God tier. Fucking love a yearning. Yearning. That's all I want to do is daydream and yearn, okay? Do I want a relationship? I don't know, but I want to yearn about one. I want to yearn about somebody, Oh, my throat. Don't end up together. I have not read many like this. I feel like I almost added it actually. Dies at the end. I feel like don't end up together and dies at the end are very similar, obviously with different reasons why they don't end up together, but still they don't end up together because one day is a very sad book. And I watched the film with Anne Hathaway in. I haven't seen the new TV version of it. That's very sad because they kind of like will they won't they for a really long time, and I think they like finally got together and she rode her bike and then got fucking hit by a car and died. I feel like there's a few, like, obviously it's a very different tone of romance book as well. I think I'm going to put it in depends, because I think it also depends what you want from the story anyway, and what kind of story it is, and what the reasons are for why they didn't end up together. Obviously, like I said, there is the death one. There's mutual breakups. There's like distance, other things. There's lots of reasons why. So I think it really depends. And the last one I've got on here is meet cute. And whilst I do love a meet cute, I could do without. I don't really think you need a meet cute. If anything, meet normal. Meet undesirable. Not the same as the meet cringe. But definitely like, I don't know. I just don't okay. I just don't think meet cute is really like a real world thing. I think it's very rare for any kind of like meet cute to happen. So I just don't really, I don't know, watch or consume or really care about things that are all meet cute esque. I mean, the way Kitty meets Yuri is Yuri's driver runs her over. Meet cute, yeah, like there's probably a few I've read or like watched and enjoyed, but like for the most part, I just don't. I'd rather read something else. But it doesn't like ruin the story, Like it's not something that I, would throw the book away over. But I do just kind of think it's something that I don't care that much to read. So yeah, that is my romance trope tier ranking video. Let me know if you are going to do a tier ranking, or let me know in the comments what your god tier or like no tiers are. Feel free to use my tier ranking thing if you want to. You don't have to. Also, yeah, leave a comment. Tell me what your favorite tropes are. Tell me what your least favorite tropes are and why. If you have a good recommendation for me and some of my like god tier romance tropes, let me know. I want to know. Don't forget to like the video. Go and watch another video. I have talked about a lot of romance like shows recently. There was the Christmas film, Happiest Season, Heated Rivalry, the Bridgerton season 1 talk thing. What else have I done? Film Club. I fucking love Film Club. Yeah, see, that wasn't a meet cute. That was a meet cringe, but like in a fun way. Go and watch that video to find out what I mean. It's underrated and more people need to go and watch that show, okay? She's autistic, canon. So yeah, that is my video for this week. And I will see you next week. Bye. I have to get up and turn the thing off now. Fuck.